I am a fourth of the way, 251 pages into The Priory of the Orange Tree, and hmm. hmm. So the reason I am doing this review at 251 pages, even though this is an 800-page book, so 200 would actually be a quarter of the way through, is 251 is the end of part one. The book is split up into multiple parts of differing lengths, so I'm reviewing after part one. And pros. Okay, so this story is very, very epic world building, which is really cool, very descriptive. I love the East and West. There's so many different cities. Whenever people move from locations, it feels like how people would move in a world this large. So we don't have and then 3 days later they were across the continent, which doesn't make any sense if you don't have like really fast transportation. Oh, they're across the continent and they were riding on a horse the whole time. How small is your continent? So I feel like the fact that people move very slowly across land in this story, at least for this first quarter, makes a lot of sense. So that's really cool. I don't dislike any of the characters. I'm enjoying reading about all of them. There's no character that I'm like, ugh, this person's perspective again. No, I'm enjoying going back and forth between the East and the West, and where they connect is really cool. There's a lot of like back and forth between who's related to who and how people know who from where. And so that's really kind of cool, finding those little connection points. You're like, ah, that person was from over there at that one time when that one thing happened. So that's cool. Okay, now for the downsides. It's 251 pages in, and we haven't accomplished much. The things that have been accomplished in 251 pages could have been accomplished in like 75, I think. For the amount of content, I still don't feel super close to any of the characters. Maybe Yad. E-A-D, I don't know how to pronounce that. Yad? I don't know. Maybe her. I feel the closest probably to, but it kind of is sad that with that much writing, I just don't feel super close to anyone. Yeah, so for the amount of content, at least so far in 251 pages, this could have been shorter. This could have been edited to be shorter. This could have been more concise so far. Maybe it'll be worth it towards the end. It's definitely being written like it's setting up for this massive epic story. And we do have like another 600, 550 pages left, so there's still a lot to go. But this also operates as a standalone. Yes, there are other books in the series, but this book, which I'll be reading next, if I can tolerate it, is 500 years before this book, I believe, but should be read second from what I've heard. And then this short, we finally learned, this just recently came out, just got this, very excited for it. It's gorgeous, much shorter, happy about that. I don't know where this fits in the timeline. This I will be reading third, but I believe the time differences between them don't make it so that like you can't just read this one book. So I'm a little confused as to why we need so much world building. But, you know, to each their preference. So, okay, I'm going to keep reading. I'm going to do a second part when I get halfway through at like 400 pages, I think is when the next section is done. Yes, part two ends at 405. So I will do a halfway through at 405 after the end of part two. And I'm probably going to do my review of this in like 4 sections unless I choose to DNF. So far, I'm not choosing to DNF. It is still good. I do still like the characters. I'm curious about where it's going. I'm also just like, can we get to where it's going? Sometime today, please. But yeah, so gorgeous cover though. So there's that. For the amount of time it's taking though to read, I don't know. At the current moment, I wouldn't actually recommend this to anybody I know. And I wouldn't necessarily say I'm not recommending it to you. Right now, the first quarter of this book, 3.75 as a rating, because we just don't need this much writing to get across what's happening in the story so far. It's still interesting. It's still an interesting world. I like the characters. Just could have been a little bit more concise. So yeah, stay tuned for my future updates on The Priory of the Orange Tree.